Dire team ban. Reserve time.
Hello and welcome everybody to the Netolic Raid Call Pro League West Division Grand Finals. We witnessed the East Division Grand Finals this morning, or last evening, depending on what time zone you happen to be in. And here we are, concluding the tournament, the final series we will see on this tournament's ticket in this stream during this tournament time. Artyk versus Dust Gaming, the grand finals of the West Division. Dust begin with a one-game advantage coming out of the winner's bracket. We have not seen these two teams up against each other before. They were meant to go up in the winner's bracket finals, but unfortunately Artyk was forced to concede. They were at a LAN event for another tournament. That was unfortunate, but they did fight their way out of the loser's bracket, defeating Root Gaming in a best-of-3. And here they are. Here we are. North America, South America. Part of me knew it would come to this. A lot of the teams in the tournament were either of the North or South American persuasion. It's at more North and South American friendly times than European times. And these two teams have proven themselves the best of the best in that respect. The best South American team, the best North American team. You're watching the official English stream for both the West and East Divisions, Netolic TV, Netolic TV. Your casters today are Vikrmond and El Presidente. El Presidente, how you doing, man?
You know, I took a nice nap and I feel refreshed.
You sound refreshed. You sound substantially refreshed.
10 seconds remaining.
It was a nice nap. I feel good. I went to bed right after casting and I didn't wake up for 4 hours.
All right. Fair enough.
Good days.
That is a perfectly reasonable way to act. So, Artyk versus Dust. Sight unseen, give me a prediction.
Sight unseen? I have no idea. Honestly, Artyk was looking phenomenally good, I guess, because I already started with an adverb. It's actually, I wish Artyk was able to play that earlier best-of-3 against Dust, so we could actually, get a little bit more into seeing how the teams would know each other better.
Sure.
One, so that would produce better matches. But it would also really give us, as casters, an idea of how they think of each other as players. Right?
Certainly.
Because we saw some fantastic play out of Ush on Storm Spirit, on Queen of Pain. He's really shown to be a very productive solo mid. That said, Artyk also have a fantastic solo mid in Smash. So,
yeah,
it's going to be interesting. Honestly,
these are
I
both
feel like
very aggressive mid players too. Smash, of course, known for his Templar Assassin. Ush more for, I guess, his Storm Spirit. But both, very aggressive, almost balls to the wall support mid styles coming out of both of these teams. And the question for Ush, really, in the previous parts of the tournament was, can he tame his wild instinct enough to just sort of act as a leader for his team from the mid, not as sort of an anchor. And we'll have to see that today. I mean, these teams very, very strong. Artyk just earlier today, really taking AL to the limit, losing in a best-of-3 in, I believe, the EZO Cup semifinal. But it was a close best-of-3, and the game that they won so convincingly. This is a team that's taken games off of teams like Na'Vi. They're really not to be trifled with by any means.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do feel it's really going to come down to this mid matchup for both teams. It's not like their carries are particularly bad. For me,
10 seconds.
I feel like both Ush and Smash are very high impact players.
They definitely are.
They've basically won games for their teams, like that game where Artyk took a match off Na'Vi was basically done by Smash. Not entirely, of course, but Smash was able to produce enough of a gap that Iwo could farm his way to victory.
It was definitely, he definitely created a lot of opportunities. And I do want to say, we've seen a lot of great play from some of these other players as well. Like, for instance, Artyk, their support pair, Masoku and Mystico, especially when they get some of their favorite heroes like Keeper of the Light, Rubik, they can be very, very strong. Of course, Keeper of the Light and Phantom Lancer are banned out by Dust Gaming. This is an unusual first ban choice, but this does take out Masoku's most played hero, the Keeper of the Light, and one of Iowa's best heroes, if not his best hero, the Phantom Lancer. So this is a smart ban where these are both heroes that are very high tier, in addition to being sort of respect or directed bans at these particular players. So Iowa won't have access to the hero that he's one of the best farmers at, this Phantom Lancer. He does still have opportunities like, he does have the Lifestealer here, of course, that he's taken up. And we did see him get, was Lifestealer one of the heroes that he got the 3-minute Midas on?
Yes, it was.
So you can't underappreciate too much a carry who's able to string together some multiple 3-minute Midas performances across a tournament. And that is what Iowa has given us more than once.
Yeah, honestly, when I'm looking at Artyk's lineup versus Dust at this moment, right, we're going to probably see a support Nyx, considering that the Queen of Pain was picked up.
Definitely.
So there's Ush's hero. It does discourage Artyk from picking up the TA. It's like a huge discouraging, because if Ush starts with a Sentry Ward, there's basically no reason for Smash to really want to play that TA. He's going to get harassed out of lane very easily.
5 seconds
That said,
remaining.
Smash could pull out a Storm Spirit. Right now, if we look at Dust lineup, there's currently only one hard disable coming out of Nyx Assassin. And Nyx Assassin, of course, has a hard time of actually locking down a Storm Spirit anyways. Not that he doesn't do a lot of damage.
Right. Yeah, I did really. It wouldn't be a Nyx Assassin. I mean, it's definitely the Queen of Pain. It's something that Ush likes to play more. And so Artyk, yeah, I don't think the TA is very, very likely. I don't think Storm Spirit is terribly likely either. They may have to experiment a little bit because, of course, Magnus is also taken out by Dust Gaming, and they may look to ban out more mids. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if something like Puck were the next to drop here, just to try to get Ush that dominance in the middle. I think you correctly identified that the mid is going to be very important in this game, and so if you can secure yourself an advantage in that first pick phase plus the second ban phase, that's a very big deal in this game, and Dust will definitely seek to win this first one. When you're up a game in a best of 5 and you have the opportunity to win immediately again after that, putting yourself up 2-0 is just such a tough mountain for the other team to climb. So that first game is very important to set the terms of the series.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because it's also Dust have been banning out some interesting. The Bane ban I think was a little bit interesting. That's what I meant to say. Because Bane does work well with Nyx Assassin as a support pair. It's not a bad pair, but it's also a good counter to the Lifestealer, so I thought it was interesting that they chose to ban it out.
And Shadow Demon, who is another support that's frequently used against Bane, is actually out of the pool as well. I think Dust Gaming have another support in mind that they want to go with. Did I say Fiend? I meant Demon.
Shadow Demon.
Yes.
Fiend. I don't
Shadow
know.
Shaman is what I meant, actually, obviously.
Maybe Shadow Fiend will be Smash's mid hero. I don't know. It's not. It's not gonna happen. But that would be amusing to say the least.
That amusing's certainly a word. I don't know how well it would actually go. Unfortunately, not that
we
I
have
don't
seen
love
Shadow
Shadow
Fiends.
Fiends.
I mean, we have seen Shadow Fiends. They haven't been very successful, but we've seen them.
5 seconds.
We've seen them. I think Mushi won with it at one point for Orange. And the
Yeah.
TA actually banned out, so this is another respect ban, and this shows to me that Dust have been doing their research. I mean, taking out that Templar Assassin and the Phantom Lancer and the Keeper of the Light, these are all possible bans, but taken as a whole, they really sort of reflect to me the fact that Dust Gaming really has researched Artyk's previous games. They've seen their fixtures in some of these higher profile tournaments, because Artyk, of course, they've had a few more few more bites at the high level tournament apple than Dust Games. And we play as well, but Artyk have just been all over the place. We play ISO Cup, Big Point Battle. We've seen them quite a bit. Dust still remains sort of an enigma, but an intriguing one. Another team sort of looking to make their mark as the 4th big North American team, really.
Yeah, and the only problem with the North American scene is that there is a crippling lack of lands, so that has been kind of harming growth. But ultimately, we still see some fantastic teams coming out of the scene, even on the more amateur level, like Dust.
Sure.
And like Root. So these are all fantastic teams in their own right.
In Dust, I believe there are actually four North Americans, so 2 Canadians or 3 Canadians. Or actually, I think they're all Americans except for Ush, who's Swedish or something. Yeah, I know he's European.
I have no idea.
So it's quite late for him right now.
Yeah, if he's European, it's like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Um,
So Gyrocopter comes out for Dust. Like, isn't their number one option? This is a popular hero. I feel like I've forgotten about Gyrocopter when I cast Asian Dota just because he's so much rarer. We only saw him just the once in that
10
MUFC versus
seconds
VG
remaining.
series. But Artyk, they still have to fish around for a mid. What do you think they go with for that?
5 seconds remaining.
I can't even. I don't even remember how many mid options left. Puck is still an option. Storm Spirit's still an option. Skywrath Mage is an option. He's been seeing
Skywrath
some play.
Mage? Did you see Navi today?
Yes, they picked it twice,
They did,
and
yeah.
they won both times.
They did. Wait, how did you see it? I thought you were asleep.
I saw the second match
Okay. All right.
against EG, and I heard about the first one, which
Right.
was the other day against Cupid.
Right. Yeah, they definitely. That's actually an option. It's not bad against Queen of Pain. It can get the kills just because of that very long duration silence that it gets. That's so effective against other intelligence-based mids. Of course, he's very killable in his own right. He's gankable. But they pick up Windrunner. So, do you think this is a mid Windrunner?
This is probably going to be yeah. No, maybe a support winner, honestly. It's hard to say.
You're right, of course.
It's-
Nyx Assassin does punish Skywrath if he tries to stack intelligence.
And that's the only thing Sarah stacks, because that's where all of his damage comes from.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, in the mid to late game, at least.
Yeah, it's a weird ability.
Sure.
10
His
seconds
little
remaining.
slow
We don't have to
moving
go into it too
projectile.
much. I mean, well, we may see it later in this tournament. I wouldn't be
5
terrifically
seconds
surprised.
remaining.
It really seems like it's rising into prominence. But for now, it seems like it's probably mid Windrunner. You said.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be mid-winner, just because Nature's Prophet, it's a little bit better in the
5
offlane, I think,
seconds
because Nature's
remaining.
Call does let you get a little bit of farm
Yeah.
without putting yourself in.
And I
Oh,
think
man.
we usually see Mihawk up on that Nature's Prophet. It's rare that Smash actually plays that. And I have seen mid Windrunner from them before. Rubik taken up by Dust Gaming. This is another smart pick. Not only does it fit into their lineup very well, as well as there's quite a few spells that are useful to steal from Artyk, such as Rage, Shackle Shot, Purge from Shadow Demon, so Demonic Purge. It's a lot of good spell steal options, and Artyk kinda, sorta still need another support
10
if they're planning to run this
seconds
Windrunner mid, and they would have loved to take Rubik, especially for a bargain at 5th pick.
Oh.
And they take Silencer, so does this change it? Is it
Oh,
going to be Windrunner
yes,
support?
It's support Windrunner with mating Silencer. There is...
We'll see once the players actually select their heroes, because it could go the other way too.
Personally, I see no reason to put Silencer into a support situation. That said, Silencer has basically the same issues against Nyx Assassin that
Yeah,
our dear friend Skywrath Mage has, which is mostly very, very high int,
right.
and that means lots of damage will be thrown his way from Nyx Assassin.
Definitely, especially as he sort of gets up those stacks of, used to be Last Word, now Glaives of Wisdom, he will be more and more susceptible to that Nyx Assassin damage. A little less so on support, though. It's sort of the silver lining to the cloud of selecting Silencer as a support here against Nyx Assassin is, hey, if he's supporting, he may have less int to go
10
around.
seconds remaining.
This is absolutely the case. I really want Silencer to be picking up a fast pipe this game, though.
5 seconds
If not
remaining.
just for the magic resist against Chim, but also because it's a pipe.
Sure, against Queen Pipe, always a good pickup against Queen of Pain. We do see Silencers,
Pain.
whether mid or support, frequently act as the mechanism carriers for their team, simply because just the tanking efficiency it gives you is very, very good for a ranged hero. So we may see that. We may see a fast pipe. You could be right. We could see a fast pipe up on one of the other heroes. We finally see them picking up each of their heroes. So you were right, and since you were right, why don't you go ahead and introduce Artyk?
Okay, since I was right, I get to introduce Artyk, apparently. So, Masoku will be playing the Shadow Demon. Iwo. I'm gonna say Iwo. Iwo is on lifesteal. I'm gonna, somehow pronounce it differently, 5 seconds from now, too.
I use Iwo.
Mystico is on the Windrunner. Smash will be solo midding on that Silencer, and Mihawk will be offlaning on the Nature's Prophet.
Alright. Towards the Radiant side, Dust Gaming. Try and take out the win over Artyk here. We've got Ush in the middle on this Queen of Pain. Classic is playing as the Darkseer, probably in a solo lane capacity, which leaves a tri-lane composed of Sna on the Rubik, Jan, who I've been calling John all tournament, but I'm going to go with Jan since the name, on the Gyrocopter, and finally, who am I missing? The Nyx Assassin, of course. Yes, that will be Chib.
Yes, Jan as in January.
Apparently.
I've been saying John, too, so...
It's
I could have
okay.
sworn at one time it was Jon instead of Jan.
No, it's been JAN.
It's been J. Okay, then
It
I
has
just have
always
bad
been
eyes
JN.
sometimes.
It's impossible to tell, man. I like this pronunciation guide. I wish everybody in Dota would just make a pronunciation guide to their names. And I'm, of course, a hypocrite here because everybody mispronounces my own name and I don't provide a pronunciation guide, but...
You know what? I'm glad I chose such an easy thing to pronounce, like El Presidente. Like, it's pronounced exactly the way it's spelled.
Right. So
Even
this
if you
try
don't know
versus try
Spanish.
is what we're going to have here. We've got 3 versus 3, Mystico, the Windrunner, the Shadow Demon, and the Life Stealer against Nyx Assassin, Rubik, Gyrocopter. What's your take on this?
Honestly, I'm giving the edge to Dust in this particular matchup. When we look at early game damage, Gyrocopter is almost always going to be king. So,
Sure.
all things considered, with the ability for Dust to move people out of position with Sna, and then stun them in position with Chim, and then easily get a huge rock barrage off, if they move on, for example, Shadow Demon, he's going to be in a very bad position.
Right.
And that said, Artyk do have a lot of durability in the sense that right-click damage is going to be practically non-existent against Mystico. Masoku, if he feels that his friends are being threatened, can just disrupt them to reduce a lot of the damage. And when we look at Iwo and the Lifestealer, he has Rage. So they do have a lot of defensive options. The problem is I don't feel like Artyk's offensive tri lane has enough offense.
Well, if they feel confident that they can actually get a kill, they can pop the Rage, and it'll be a while before Dust can actually do anything to respond to that in particular. But you're right that unless they get a few levels, particularly to get like level 3 for Reg 2 Power Shot for Mystico, I don't see them just having enough raw damage to get the kill necessarily. Maybe some clever body blocking with Disruption, Illusions, and a good Shackle, and just Iwo constantly smacking away. That could do it, but otherwise, yeah, I have to agree with you, Elprez. So yeah. Let's talk about the solo lanes then. Queen of Pain's Silencer. I feel like it's been a while since I've seen a professional Silencer mid. What's your breakdown for this lane?
Depends on what build Smash goes for. I really hope he doesn't just get 1 point in Curse and spam that, because that upsets me a lot. Because level 1 Curse drains more of your own mana than it does your opponent's. Every time. Actually, level Curse also does that. It does damage,
right.
So that's always nice. But if they cast a spell, you will actually lose more mana. If they don't cast a spell, you will lose more mana than your opponent every time.
Sure. Until,
and
I mean, for the first rank at least.
For the first 2 ranks, actually. Just,
oh, is that so?
No, actually, it's a 1 gap, level 2, between the cost and how much it drains, assuming full duration plays out. Actually, it's going to be Mini Classic.
Might have to check it out after this game. My Dota's being a little weird. Alright. So, quick PSA just as we get started in the game. I forgot to mention our sponsors at the beginning of this game. Our official sponsor for this tournament is Raidcall, RAIDCALL. They are a voice over IP program. You probably saw their ad at the beginning of this game. There will still be giveaways held in the Raidcall channel 2013-2013. This will be, of course, the last set of giveaways because, you know, the tournament is ending. And I think the offer is still in effect that if we do get 3,000 users in the raid call room, it will trigger the grand prize giveaway. Although it may be difficult, I know we have a slightly smaller audience for the West games than the East games. Of course, the teams are a little lower profile. But I do want to say I very much appreciate all y'all watching either in Dota TV or in the Twitch channel. You should check it out because I think these games will actually be good. I don't have a bead. Like you said, I mean, we haven't seen these two teams matched against each other. We've seen them perform very well against sort of other teams, but in terms of a direct head-to-head, this will be their first meeting, and I'm very interested in that. They did say that they wanted to scrim together, I think, so I don't know if they've actually started doing that, but should be interesting. Two teams that can sort of develop in parallels. They're both sort of up-and-coming America's teams.
What I really do like is that Smash is going for a more offensive lane build. More points in Last Word, 1 point in Glaives. I'm expecting him to max Last Word first and then just start putting points in the Curse while he's at it. The advantage of getting early levels of Glaives is, of course, that it lets you orb block in lane, so that's a lot of harass you can put out completely unthreatened.
I don't think so.
Sure. And meanwhile, in this bottom lane, DG are feeling very confident just pushing the lane right up into the faces of Artyk, and then just using Flatkin to deal quite a bit of damage. You can see that Iwo has already taken a lot of harassment, and DG just peeling back. This does cost them a lot of XP, but there aren't any, it doesn't look like there are any lanes blocked, so they will be able to pull and stack these jungle camps, and that'll let them manage the lane eventually. For now, Jan actually only at 7 last hits to Iwo's 12, so I don't know if they'll end up paying for this decision, but it's an interesting one. And Classic, meanwhile, still working in this middle lane, pushing the lane also into Smash. So in 2 lanes, DG feeling very confident just pushing the lanes way up into the faces of the opposing players. And on the top lane, it has ended up with Ush on the Queen of Pain against Nature's Prophet. And even though this is a lane I would normally say that Queen of Pain is a little favored in, so far we do see Mihawk with the advantage, a narrow advantage here too. 12-4 to 7-3.
It seems just like Mihawk is doing a lot better at last hitting than Ush, and that's a big deal. It'll add up over a long period of time.
Sure.
Especially because when you're playing in this particular matchup against Artyk, that fast Orchid is going to be of the essence.
And early last hits are very important too. They have sort of a cascading effect. The future value of a last hit now early in the game is very, very high compared to a last hit later on in the game. So it's important to start well, and so far, I think they're doing fine. I don't think Dust are sort of digging themselves a hole by any means, but they are making some interesting choices as far as how far up they're willing to let this lane be. And you can see that right now Jen doesn't feel that comfortable approaching the lane position.
Yeah, I feel like they're just pushing way too hard here, and they might end up paying for this. Luckily, again, there's no harass going out at all onto Jan, Sna, or Chim at all. They actually haven't popped any regen in this lane. Except for Sna, actually. I don't know when he did, but he popped 2 tangos, and that's compared to the 2 tangos on Lifesteal, and I think they passed some more regen as well. Probably more than 2 clarities. Yeah, they passed some, I think, Mysticos. Yeah, they passed some Mysticos tangos, so that's 5 clarities popped off on Iowa.
5 clarities?
So,
Tangos, you?
Tangos. Clarities. No, of course it's clarities. Tangos.
Clarity, pretty important. I mean, he uses mana. He's a mana-using guy. Masoku finds an Invis rune. They may try to make something of this with this Shadow Demon. I'm not completely certain, but it seems possible.
Again, I still feel like the issue is damage. There just isn't enough of it coming out of Artyk's lineup here.
Yeah, possibly. Ooh, missed last hit on the catapult right there for Jan. They are trying to return some damage, so Sna and Chim, they're walking up. The lane is coming up as well, but still cautious. Still not going up all the way. Ooh, meanwhile, Busoku he lost Invis, but he's fairly well hidden, it looks like. He's ensconced in this little tree fortress here, and actually, I think there's a path out. No, they didn't cut down the path, but he does have 1 tango, so he can cut a path out if he wants. Now just using Mana Burn from Chim, actually. Rank 1 Mana Burn going on to Iwo. They really want to purge him down past the point at which he can actually rage, is what I think they want. Ooh, Rocket Barrage, Masoku taking some damage, and another flat cannon hit coming through. Still just harassment so far. Still sort of just light damage from both sides onto each other. And Mihawk actually walking quite a bit away from the lane here. Do you know what happened top? Did he have to go back to Fountain?
It looks like he had to. That seems,
Well, Lush, I mean, Queen of Pain can do a lot of harassment in this lane. He's got rank 3 Scream of Pain, plus the Shadow Strike. I mean, oh, actually Power Shot getting thrown out. There's the Global Silence, actually, as well. Sna looks like he may go down to just a couple more hits from Iwo. The stun comes out. The Rocket Barrage, no! Mihawk actually finds the first blood by picking off Rubik. A shackle up on Jan. He's still trying to run away. Soul Catcher comes out. Jan, he's 1 hit. Yes, the Power Shot. Triple Impale from Chim, but it's not quite enough. In fact, this Nyx Assassin is going to have to back off, lest he die as well. 1 more hit. It looks like no. He survives, and Artyk very, very low, but they take 2 kills, including the first blood, in exchange for 1 onto the Life Stealer. And that's definitely a favorable trade. A strong start for the South Americans.
I feel like Ush, had he had a TP scroll, could have literally just cleaned that up. And it would have turned a 2-1 trade in favor of Artyk into a 4-1 trade in favor of Dust. And I feel like that was a little bit of a missed opportunity, because they were all sub 250 health.
They were definitely low, yeah.
An easy Scream of Pain blink into a Sonic Wave, you would have gotten 3 kills. That would have gotten Ush straight up almost to level 8 immediately. And basically would have sealed this bottom lane's fate.
Possibly, yeah. So, Queen of Pain, for whatever reason, he decides not to rotate quite yet. Maybe he just didn't feel like he had that great of a chance to get it. I think they had a TP in, so another second TP in would be sort of, actually, Darkseer silenced up, so Smash. You can see Smash sort of starting to get a little bit of an advantage in this middle lane. Of course, the flip side of Mihawk rotating what is the fact that now Ush has this free lane? But you're right, I mean, he passed up what were potentially kills in the bottom lane. And so Artyk taking a little bit of an early advantage here. If we look at levels, we actually have a Jan up to level 5, Iwo only at level 4. So nothing too convincing as far as levels yet. The other note is, of course, Smash is the highest level on the map at level 8.
Yeah, we do see the Midas already finished up on Mihawk,
Right.
so he's just going to get it delivered to him as fast as possible so he can start using that. So an 8-minute Midas, that's probably going to be his first usage, about 8 minutes. Not a bad timing. Could have been a little bit better considering he started in lane and did get a kill off in one of the side lanes, but again, still pretty good. We'll be able to quickly farm up, get that dollar. So...
That is important on Nature's Prophet. Definitely something you want to do. Smash taking a ton of Ion Shell damage in the mid, actually. Just try to get his last hits here. Again, his last hit efficiency has been very good. Classic feeling pretty good. He's diving in, but there's all sorts of creeps here. A quick last word response, and Darkseer forced to sort of leave, just using a vacuum to trigger that last word. Curse of the Silent as well, and that'll be the rest of his mana. He won't find the rune here. The rune has spawned bottom, it looks like. And Global Silence, meanwhile, in the bottom. Jan in trouble once again. There's the Shackle Shot. It latches. Iwo will easily pick up this kill. Double Impale. Ush has joined the fray, but unfortunately he doesn't have quite the health to do this just then. This might be why he was hesitating earlier. He gets slapped right back down. 4-1 the scoreline for Artyk, and Mihawk and Snod just taking a lot of hits. There's the Shackle Shot again. Mystico is landing these shackles like clockwork. And Iwo, he's coming through. The rage is up. Power Shot. Wow, Mystico. What a game on Windrunner this has been. 1-0-4 now, and 5-1 the lead for Artyk. I didn't see them picking apart the tri-lane quite like this, but Mihawk has just given them a little more muscle in this lane, and Ush, he rotated over like he said, and it didn't seem to help.
In this particular situation, I feel like Dust were definitely caught out just because of the global silence. What it really feels like here in this particular matchup is that for Artyk, when you're fighting this tri-lane, it's not a +1. Oh, Smash taking a lot of damage from creeps.
Yeah.
But it's not a +1. It's more like a... You get your 3 plus Mihawk plus a global silence. You're really just fighting all 5 of Artyk no matter what.
Right, right.
And it's actually becoming a huge problem. They do lose Jan again, so...
Right. And during that global silence, Gyrocopter early on, he needs to cast spells to do good damage. I mean, even just the Flak Cannon activation. But also, the Rocket Barrage does so much of his damage early, and he can't cast it while the global silence is active. He's just dying during that global silence. Ush jumps in, they want Smash. A little more damage will do it. Maybe one more Scream of Pain. Smash, he pops the Curse of the Silent. He realizes he's going to die, and he just wants to try to take Classic down with him. Masoku comes in, he will die. Smash is actually still alive. He makes it to Fountain. Oh my gosh, Mystico coming through. The Power Shot on Classic. Mihawk, a couple more last hits. Right clicks will do it. Yes. They actually get a trade. Shadow Demon for Darkseer, and Smash makes it out. Wow, those were some high-class jukes.
Definitely, I'm going to say in favor of Artyk for that entire engagement. Classic definitely higher priority than Masoku.
Right.
All things considered, though, Smash did TP out before Classic died, so he didn't get the in from that. So
That's true. But
still good. Like, don't get me wrong. Could have been better. Could have been a lot worse.
That's definitely true. So Ush has, once again, they've done a little bit of a rotation. We now see Queen of Pain in the middle. So Ush back to the mid. We've got Classic looking to find his position, possibly in the jungle. He's moving towards his mechanism. Chim, meanwhile, right now is getting a little bit of time as Nyx Assassin just to build up towards that Vendetta. We actually have Classic and Jan both coming up. Ush with the Invisor, and Smash could be in a lot of trouble here. There's the Shadow Strike, the call down. Nice vacuum. They will clean up the Soku and Smash very, very quickly this time. Flak Cannon comes through, the Sonic Wave, and yes, that's 2 on the ground for Artyk. A nice comeback for Dust there to pick up those 2 kills.
Yeah, fantastic. No trade. And as an added bonus, Chim is now level 6, so that's actually legitimate fear you have to keep up with. So, big wins. Actually, very strong ganking lineup against the really squishier interiors. I feel, in particular, Mihawk should be cautious. Should be very, very cautious. Because, you know, there are some heroes that are really good at picking out people who like doing global presence type deal, like Clockwork. Chim's Nyx Assassin's another good one, just because you never know if he's actually there.
Right.
Although Shadow Blade is being picked up, so that does give him a little bit of an extra layer of defense, I guess.
Yeah, it gives him a good escape mechanism, good initiation. It's a fairly common item on Nature's Prophets these days. Actually, an extremely common item.
Yeah, one of the biggest advantages of it is that you can TP using your global teleport well in Shadowblade.
Right.
But again, personally, I think Shadowblade is a little bit weak as a escaping item.
Sure, I mean, if they can catch
If
you
you-
out, if they can get
If you
detection.
know, if a team knows it exists, you buy dust.
Sure, sure.
Right, so now your 3,000 gold items countered by 180 gold item.
Right. Sna and Chim, now that they have this sort of Nyx Assassin toolkit available, they go smoking. He actually uses the Vendetta. They will spot out Mihawk. There's the Vendetta damage in just a second. They actually walk past him. Interesting. He decides to skip Mihawk. He does point out that he's there. Got a few more seconds on this Vendetta. Rank 1 Vendetta doesn't last very long. Interesting that they've decided not to go on Mihawk, and this Vendetta will actually expire in the Dire Jungle. Not much to show for that initial gank attempt, of course. Smoke was running out on Rubik, but still, what do you think made them decide not to try to go for Nature's Prophet?
Well, I think the big problem right now for Dust as a whole is that Global Silence is up on Silencer. So if Smash feels like they need it as a team, they need it. Global Silence, gank attempt, pretty much nullified because Nyx Assassin's bulk of his damage is magical at this point.
That's
So-
true, but what would you think of the argument that if they can get the Global Silence, that's a 140-second cooldown that they know Artyk won't have it? Or do you think Artyk could actually turn that around and get a kill?
I don't know if they can get a kill because Silencer's not the fastest hero, but it definitely means that they wasted a lot of Dust's time, basically, in doing that.
Sure.
So you have to keep in mind, throughout all of this, Iowa was getting phenomenal farm, 72 last hits.
Right?
Has an armlet.
Yeah, if he finishes his armlet right as you say that, in fact. Masoku and Smash. Smash going to just take the Illusion Rune here. Not tremendously important. In fact, Silencer really just wants runes for the mana. There's not one rune that's just totally amazing for Silencer. We're not talking about a Templar
DD.
Assassin here.
DD
DD's pretty good. Yeah.
Is by far his favorite rune, just
Right.
because he does have so much int to work with.
Right.
Radiant
right.
structures are fortified.
Yeah, I think DD is a good call. So Jan's just also clearing this out. He's up to about 1428. Do you see Shadowblade in the Gyrocopter's future as well, or something else?
This particular matchup, I have to say yes. But I could also see a BKB in his future.
Dire's
One big
bottom
thing,
tower
and
is under
going
I love
Shadowblade.
this. The odds of Sna
Radiant's
successfully
middle
stealing
tower is
Global
under
Silence are
attack.
practically non-existent.
He would need BKB, basically.
You would need a BKB, and you would need to activate it afterwards without dying before the Global Silence. Because if you activate it before, you still
Yeah.
get silenced.
I don't think that's going to happen. But if it does, we will be
Oh.
the first to ooh and ah over it happening, because it really would be a pretty big play. But this is a support Rubik. This isn't a mid Rubik. He's not going to be swimming in cash. And if he's swimming in cash, Artyk have bigger problems than Rubik stealing a spell because he has BKB. They have the problem that they're probably losing because the support is swimming in cash.
Yes. Luckily, Nyx Assassin is one of those supports that loves swimming in cash because he can get it so easily by picking off squishier supports
but that's
on
Nyx.
Artyk's lineup.
Right.
Like, in particular, I'm still very concerned. Again, when you look at the support lineup from Artyk, all of them are in zeros. Global Silence.
Ooh, there's the Global Silence. It looks like they may have to make an attempt on Ash. Yes, actually, they kill him. Iwo and Mihawk, enough damage already. Just do the Shadowblade initiation and the damage from Lifestealer, and you pop the Global Silence so the Queen of Pain can't blink away. So that's another kill on the board. That's a Queen of Pain nipped in the bud, basically. He's trying to move towards his Orchid, and that'll slow it down.
Interestingly, we do see Smash opting to pick up the drums
Oh,
over...
meanwhile, a kill comes from the middle. Masoku, actually, the Soul
Shackle.
Catcher does land, so Classic taking quite a bit of damage with the Power Shot, and yes, the Wrath of Nature helping out with that. So that's another kill. 8-4 now for Artyk, and they're just finding the kills
Radiant's
at
top tower is
seemingly
under
random
attack.
points on the map, but nonetheless, Dust, they can't feel safe.
Dire's bottom tower.
Thus
is under
marks the
attack.
beginning of Smash the Snowball, because that's his first to win. That said, I'm still a little bit interested by the option to pick up the
Radiant's top
drums
tower
over the
has
mech,
fallen.
fast mech on Smash instead. Maybe they're hoping that Masoku picks it up for him. Doesn't look like it. Actually, it looks like Masoku is going for it. Not Masoku. This is Masoku. No, this is
Mystico?
Mihawk. Mihawk is going
Mihawk.
for an Orchid instead of a mech. So I'm
Maybe
actually...
they don't feel they need it.
I always disagree with that, but every team... There's a list of items I think every team needs. I think
Drums is
drums
one of
makes
those
the
items.
list. Drums makes the list, but mechanism higher priority. Pipe most games. There are very few games where I say pipe isn't necessary. And then Vlad's is the rare option.
Dire's middle tower is
Well,
under
the thing
attack.
about drums is the stats are very, very
Radiant's bottom
efficient, so I think
tower is
Smash
under
will
attack.
definitely want those stats, just to bolster the fact that he's not the tankiest of heroes. Early int for him is nice as well, and drums just really gives you stats in a way that Mechanism just doesn't. It gives you tankiness, but it doesn't give you the raw just stats value for the cost.
This is absolutely true. For stats, that's absolutely the case. When you look at the team fight item, Mechanism provides a total of 1,250 health to your team. I think it's 1,250. It could be 1,200 or a little bit less. I think it's 1,250. But most importantly, for Silencer, tankiness is what he needs. Because ideally, he will be getting stats from his opponents.
Sure.
So, in the end, ultimately, all that really matters is that can Smash live long enough to steal the int and get the stats. Right? So I don't think the aura is nice from drums when you're looking to push, because that's always a fantastic aura, but the mech aura is better for pushing.
Sure.
Right?
One
There's that.
interesting thing is that Artyk are finding levels on everybody except Shadow Demon. Do they care? Is it okay for them to just have Shadow Demon stuck at level 5 for a while, or do they want to try to find some farm for Masoku as well?
Well, for him to get level 6, they literally just need to park him in a lane for like 5 seconds.
That's true.
So it's honestly not that big of a deal, and level 6 is all that Shadow Demon really needs. He is going for a Shadow Push build, which I thought was interesting.
Wow, Mihawk with the Nakes bomb. Here comes Iwo. Actually, a nice Impale response. They locked them down for quite a while in response to that. The global silence comes through, but for the first time, it's not that huge of a deal. Here comes the call down, and will hit Smash and Mystico. Sonic Wave to follow as well. Shin actually disrupted the vacuum, deals a lot of damage as well. And 3 go down, buyback from Mystico, and that initiation didn't work out at all for Artyk. They just immediately lose 3 and a buyback.
So, like I was saying about the pipe, this is the game for a pipe. I said that in the draft, I'm going to say that again here. This is the game for the pipe. If he had a pipe instead of drums, not that he could because the gold costs are so different, he probably would have fared a lot better. I think he pretty much took entirely magic damage that fight. He got caught in a cooldown. Actually, Mihawk got him trapped in trees in a cooldown.
Right.
Got Smash caught in trees in a cooldown, so that was inconvenient. Took a lot of damage there. And then there was a bad disruption that was done on, I think, like, Ush instead of...
It was on Chim. Oh, actually, Iwo gets his Rage in a good time, but the Sprout completely catches him out. But I think he can TP out, yes. Rage will last, and he gets out. Nice Sentry Ward placement by Artyk here. Just completely caught out that Shadow Blade Nature's Prophet. They will take the tower, but now they've been grouped as 5 for a very long time. They sort of need the tower to justify this in any way. And they will rotate. Well, they got a couple. They got Jen going to the bot. Sorry, to the top. Just to clear this out. Classic, actually. He's disrupted. He's going to lose a lot of surge time. He takes quite a bit of damage. There's the Demonic Purge from Masoku, who has hit 6. Chim takes the rest of his mana away. Sna and Classic actually get shackled together while Chim is still trying to hunt Masoku. There goes the tower. Mihawk with the last hit. Still no kills in this fight. Masoku trying to TP out. He will go down to one more hit from Ush. Mystico trying to run out as well. His wind run does expire. He has Shadow Strike still on him. He's quite a bit slowed, but Chim doesn't quite have the mana to pursue, and so they will let go. A tower trade for 1. Meanwhile, Smash, the call down will hit. He's quite slowed. I don't know if Silencer will make it out of this. Janice chasing with the Shadow Blade. Yes! Gyrocopter with the last hit. And now, Dust Gaming with a streak of 5 kills in a row, doing a lot of damage all of a sudden. Mihawk still with no deaths, but the rest of his team not so lucky.
While that is the case, they were able to pull edge, and that should give them an XP edge at this point. Actually, it doesn't. Wow. Well, anyways, the problem is that they're still down a tower in comparison, so they're losing out a lot of XP. And because Dust have been 5-manning so much, I guess that explains why the XP gap isn't as large as it is.
Actually, a nice deny by Classic there at the bottom lane. Chim coming in as well. They're trying to chase out Mihawk. Nice vacuum actually lands. It might have been, was it a blind vacuum? Yes, it was. But you obviously can't follow that up. They know roughly where Mihawk is, but they won't be able to catch him. He is teleporting out. Actually, telekinesis. They lift him up. They've caught out the Nature's Prophet. Here's a Sentry Ward. He is going to sprout himself and try to get out again, but here comes the call down. Yes! That's a dead Nature's Prophet and another kill on the board for DG. The first death for Mihawk. Artyk are finding the towers, but right now nothing else is going right for them.
This is absolutely like best case scenario because Gyrocopter's ult's abilities cost so little and have such short cooldowns. He can really just, at a moment's notice, pop it.
Right.
So every time, if you can get a kill for cooldown, it was worth it. And the fact that they're getting kills on high priority targets like Mihawk, even more worth it.
Sure.
Not only
Now-
that, because Mihawk's down, this mid tower is going down because Artyk can't defend it.
Definitely, there's no way.
Dire's middle
Power
tower
shot
has
getting thrown out from
fallen.
Mystico. He's got his phase boots, but that's about it.
Ooh.
And yeah, the only nice thing, the good news for Artyk right now is Iowa is still farming. I mean, Mihawk is still getting his Midases off. He died with Midas cooldown having just been used, so always less. Death stings so much more when you have the Midas off cooldown. So he has his Orchid, and I mean, this is a Nature's Prophet who's getting very big very quick. If you look at the net worth, they're still fairly substantially ahead, about almost a K ahead of where Jan is at, but he's catching up. He's building that BKB.
Interesting note, 1 DD, 2 Desolator, and this is bad for Sna. Oh, here it is.
Ooh, global silence, Mihawk and Iowa, they get Jan already. Sna in trouble as well, he's going to, wow, he died quick. Wrath of Nature coming on through with one of its late hits and just tearing apart that Rubik, and there we go, Artyk. Back on the board, using that Nature's Prophet, Shadow Blade, and Teleport with a Lifestealer inside you initiation. Didn't quite work out the last time they tried it, but it did the first time, and it did this time. They pick up Dust's carry, and that can't be what Dust want.
That wasn't a Nature's Prophet hit. Because of the Desolator, he literally took 500 damage from one auto attack from Lifestealer and one auto attack from Nature's Prophet.
As well?
No, it was literally just right-click damage.
Wow. But wait, Nature's Prophet got credited with the kill.
Yeah, because he got the last hit. He does 180 damage. He does 180 damage, and he was Orchided.
Right.
Not Orchided. He was Desolated. I think he has negative armor.
Wow.
Yeah, he gets a lot of negative armor. Negative 4 armor.
Yeah.
So,
that's true.
Wow.
This is a Rubik who's in a lot of danger. Maybe Ghost Scepter is going to have to be an important pickup for Dust this game, especially for Rubik.
Wow, that's a lot of damage.
Definitely.
Honestly, I was not expecting that much damage to happen just from one Desolator, but wow.
Artyk, I mean, they know that Mihawk is a couple levels ahead. He's level 15. He's hitting a level 8 Rubik. That's a 7-level difference in that hit. And when you take in the fact that the Rubik has negative 4 armor effectively with the Desolator effect, that means the Nature's Prophet really can just run rampant on him.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Dust to really deal with that kind of combo. We just saw with the Global Silence that it almost is always like fighting 3 people at once when a Negs bomb happens with Mihawk.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
The problem with Dust lineup is pretty much the same problem with Artyk. If they're silenced out, they can't do much. Every one of their teammates, every one of the players is very reliant on abilities to either escape or to do damage.
Yes.
I think Dust was popped as well. Yeah, there was Dust popped as well. So even like I was saying, Shadow Blade is an awful escape mechanism.
Well,
for this reason, for that exact reason,
you can
he popped Shadow
respond to
Blade.
it. Right.
He popped the Shadow Blade. He got dusted. He died.
Absolutely.
So it's not a good
approach. So Iwo starting to smack away at it, and Desolator will substantially. I mean, look how quickly this Roshan dies with this Desolator effect. This is the amount of damage Iwo and Mihawk are doing right now. It's not to be underestimated by any means. It really is just to 2 players. You see 5-man teams at 30-minute mark just do a slower Roshan than these 2 guys just did. And that's an Aegis on Lifestealer. We saw Dust string together a bunch of kills, but the problem is Artyk just have these 2 very farmed core heroes, and right now I don't know that Dust have a response to that.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. We do see Force Staff almost done on Smash as well, so no mech, which is, I think, a problem. Windrunner is nowhere near it, so Mystico's not going to be getting it anytime soon. Mihawk has bigger farm priorities because he has so much gold to work with.
Keep getting thrown out on Mystico, but can they actually chase this? The defensive disruption will protect some damage. Actually, Mystico doesn't even get the Orchid damage there, just because he was under when it happened. Snog getting a little bit caught out. He telekinesis Iwo up. He tries to open wounds him. I bet he would have wanted Rage more. This Rubik is still alive, just barely, and Iwo may have overreached. There's the Global Silence. We do see a Classic already getting picked off. The trade-off is Lifestealer. Potentially no Armlet toggling to get away. Meanwhile, Artyk chasing the rest of Dust. There goes the call down. It actually lands on nobody for the first hit. Jan's on the ground. Sorry, I should say Ush is on the ground. Masoku, Jan is just trying to call them down, but no! He can't quite get it. Shadow Demon is still up barely, and wow, that was a disaster. Rubik, the hero they targeted first, actually the only hero to survive, while every single other hero of Dust just gets completely mopped up. They don't even find the kill on Iwo, just using some clever armlet toggling. Ouch! What a bruising fight for Dust Gaming.
Not only is that, like, awful because they didn't get a single kill, even if they got Iwo, He had
Radiant's
Aegis.
bottom tower is under
That's true.
attack.
That's true. He would have just gotten
So-
right back up and started smacking them again. And he keeps it. He
Radiant
keeps it for another.
structures are
He's only had it for a
fortified.
minute. That's another like
Radiant's
4.5
top
minutes, but
tower
he
is
still has it.
under
For.
attack.
I cannot help but feel like Dust had a focus fire issue. They just could not pick a single target and just finish it off one at a time. They just wanted to get all of them all at the same time, and it's like you can't do that. There's some sort of saying here, and there's a good one, and I'll find it later. But it's like try to catch two rabbits, get neither, or something silly like that.
Oh,
Oh,
Iway
classic.
pops right out in classic. They just have too much damage. They walk up, they try to initiate, and they just get thrown into the pit. Just immediate damage comes out. Artyk. Right now, Iwo and Mihawk alone, I don't see how Dust just killed them. They just do too much damage in response.
And that's my phone ringing
Yes.
again.
Do you want to go address that?
Yes, I'm gonna go answer that.
Alright, go ahead and mute yourself then. Masoku, meanwhile, we do see the Shadow Demon smoked up. They're going to try to find another kill on Jan, because of course Jan, he still doesn't have his Black King Bar. He still doesn't have that magic immunity that would actually render him impervious to some of what Artyk can do. I say some, because Artyk still are threatening. Here comes Mihawk, the Shadow Blade, the Sentry Ward, the Demonic Purge. They start to damage him. Actually, damage coming out. Oh man, it's just far too much. Smashes there to do a little bit, actually to get the last hit, but it's just too much. He doesn't have the HP pool. Gyrocopter getting taken out in mere seconds. Between the last ward, the auto attack damage from Nature's Prophet, and the auto attack damage from Silencer as well. I mean, Smash now with 10 Glaives of Wisdom stacks up to about 91 int. Now this does mean that a mana burn from Nyx Assassin will do about 450 damage to Silencer, but he's decently tanky. He has this power tread activated to strength right now. He's got some stats from Drum of Endurance, and so you see he does have about almost 1500 health in his health pool right now. Not so easy to bring down, even with the advantages that a Nyx Assassin gives you. We see Snow right now holding on to Nature's Call. What's up?
There's a big fine print on the mana burn, though.
Sure.
If Silencer's out of mana, he doesn't do anything.
Right. Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Mihawk, they've gone in again. Global Silence coming out. Can Dust respond to this? It might seem like Ush might actually fall before they can do anything. And just a trivial kill. That Rubik is falling faster and faster every single time. Iwo, he still wants more. Classic actually is afflicted with the Shadow Ward. They will pick off Mihawk. Finally, the Dust coming out just for good measure. But Classic, he's out of time. A couple more last hits will do the trick. Has Iwo overextended? Maybe not, since he actually picks off. No! Chim with a nice spike carapace. Iwo having to back off for fear of triggering that critical stun. And he backs off, having picked off some more kills. This is a decent trade for Dust, I have to say. Not actually that cataclysmic, simply because killing a level 18 Nature's... Wait, what? Second Desolator? Wow! They realize that I think they kill people so fast that they don't need Lifestealer and Nature's Prophet attacking the same target at this point. They could just have them both get Desolators and kill two separate targets. Wow.
I can't help but feel that gold would have been better spent just getting crit, so you can just kill one person in like an actual instant.
Yeah, maybe.
But two Desolators actually does enable Furion's split push a lot better.
That's true. He doesn't need Lifestealer to split push.
Yes, as he no longer needs Lifestealer, he no longer needs to threaten his carrier's life with his split pushing antics.
That's a good point. And Lifesteal actually with the Sange and Yasha, so not Race Car Lifesteal because we don't see drums or phase, but this does give him a little bit of move speed as well as that maim, and it's just more and more damage. He's just buying efficient, cheap carry items to try to just blow Dust out, and so far it's working. I mean, Ush, we talked about how it's important for him to contribute in these games, and 5-4-4 is okay, but he's just dying too much. Here we go, he's going to Orchid Mystico, but it's not enough damage. There's the vacuum, nice! That takes him down when he was trying to TP out. He's just trying to buy as much of an Orchid as possible. He does get taken down. So that's a kill for Artyk. Sorry, that's a kill for Dust. I did say Ush needed to get those kills. He gets one there. But in these bigger engagements, he's just been locked down so effectively. He critically needs that BKB. Whether it be by creep farming or by hero farming, the BKB has to come on Queen of Pain.
BKB needs to come up on everybody. John needs one. Jan needs one.
Both Jan
Ush needs
and John
one.
both need one.
I thought they were the same person.
They are the same person.
Attack.
Okay, well, John needs one.
Dire's top
No,
tower
Jan
has
desperately
fallen.
needs one. He's been getting locked down, Orchid, and unable to cast any spells. I don't know if he's even getting call down off. That's an ability of an instant cast.
It's not just that, it's also that there's a second Orchid coming. I mean, we already have one Orchid, and when the second Orchid hits Dust, I just don't know. It just seems so dangerous against these multiple Desolators, multiple
Radiant's
Orchids. You're
bottom
silenced,
tower
you have
has
no
fallen.
armor. If they had more core heroes, I'd say somebody should build an Assault Cuirass pronto, but they just don't have it. Maybe Vlad's at least for a little bit cheaper of a solution, but who would get it? Darkseer, I guess?
Vlad's? Maybe Darkseer, but it's not going to make the difference here.
It's armor, I mean, it's just AoE armor.
The big problem is, well, they have the mech active, which is some armor.
Yeah,
more reasonably, they got to get Ghost Scepters up on Classic and Sna. Shem already has one. That's a great buy. But if we look at Artyk's lineup, the bulk of the damage is all physical.
yes.
Even Smash's damage is going to be mostly physical at this point because you cannot target someone with Glaives of Wisdom if they are ethereal affected.
Right.
So it really kills a lot of Smash's output as well. So
It certainly does.
Makes
I mean,
big
Artyk are an auto-attacking team right now. They're built to silence you and then auto-attack you to death after the effects of Global Silence. So yeah, I don't think they're... The more Ghost Scepters, the merrier for Dust Gaming, I feel. As they add more Ghost Scepters on, they'll feel better and better about this situation. BKBs for the cores, Ghost Scepters for the non-cores, really. And eventually, Ghost Scepters for the cores might not be the worst idea, I think.
honestly, I could definitely see a Ghost Scepter being picked up on Ush this matchup.
Right. What? Smash just harassing Jan back a little bit. Just that harassment damage from the last word. Just the last word, really. I think combined with Curse of the Silent as well. We do see a fortification up for Dust, so will they seek to defend? There's the illusionary wall. This shackle comes out, and I think the thing is, Artyk can just retreat from this position. They've essentially baited out an illusionary wall that will not be effective at anything except keeping the tier 2 tower up. And that's a substantial cooldown. It's about 100 seconds at every rank, so that's almost 2 minutes that Dust don't have this wall to work with.
Yeah, it's going to be a big problem for them, especially because that's really their primary anti-turtling device. Primary turtling device. So it's actually a huge problem. There's it going away
the wall
now.
goes down, and Artyk immediately come back in. Disciplined play here. Just, you know, back out, back in. You baited out an ultimate that you don't have to deal with. Just wait for it to leave, and then come back in. And they get the tier 2. That is the last outer tower that Dust have. They don't have any left, and Artyk still have their 3 outer towers.
Yeah, and the big problem is this is so much map control that Artyk have for Mihawk and Iwo to farm. It's actually going to be a huge problem, especially because Iwo's looking very close to an Assault Cuirass if he wants it. It's a Basher.
I like this good, to be honest. I think it's, yeah. Being able to lock somebody down, even through BKB, you see that Dust have actually hit those 2 BKBs. They have it on Gyro, they have it on Queen of Pain. But Basher doesn't care. Basher means dead Gyro if Lifestealer stays on him long enough. Smoke from Dust. Oh, man. They all walk over the Sentry Ward. They know because the Wrath of Nature hit them under smoke, but wow. Artyk, can we just talk about these wards for just 1 second?
It reminds me of that image of the guy with the inventory that had 32 Sentry Wards in his inventory, and how this entire area was basically just covered in Sentry Wards.
And that's what we see here. I mean, they just...
It's basically the same thing, except it's this area instead.
Artyk have plastered the map in sentries. This isn't just Nyx Assassin. This is pure spite and just complete deflection of any possibility of smoke ganks. Just any possibility. Completely deflated. They have a sentry ward at every choke point in the Radiant Jungle. Oh my god. And here, they just completely cover all the possibilities of smoke. Ush, he's on the high ground. They may try to pick Shoku off on the top, but he's basically bait. They actually don't mind losing the Shadow Demon because it means another Aegis for Lifestealer. There the Shadow Demon goes. But now Dust will have to try to escape. Nice Shackle Shot, Classic and Shim in a lot of trouble already. Here comes the call down. Jan trying to come back in. BKB is activated. The Sonic Wave, but Mihawk is a little bit too tanky. He's dueling Ush. He's actually still alive. The Shadow Strike is probably going to pick him off, but in trade for the Queen of Pain. And meanwhile, the rest of Dust running in disarray. Yet another perfect Shackle for Mystico actually locks down Classic, and he takes a fall. 2 for 2, actually. They have brought down the Nature's Prophet, so not the worst trade, but it's still Aegis available for Iwo, and Artyk are going to keep pushing, I feel. Does Ush have buyback? No. Does Mihawk have buyback? Yes. He can join them for this push if they should so desire it. Buyback status, in fact, Jen has it. He hasn't quite died yet, so that's 2 lies. Smash has it, and Mihawk has it. Nobody else does right now, although Iwo is extremely close. And of course, he has Aegis, so it hardly matters. There's the Impale coming out. It does hit on 2, Mystico and Iwo. Actually, this Windrunner will need to leave extremely right now. Last word picked up for Rubik. This could be a big deal. Actually, the telekinesis on Iwo. Can they actually? There goes the call down. They've slowed him down. They want to chase him. They want to take the Aegis down, but they know they can't leave the environs of their base, and they're absolutely correct. If they leave too far, Mihawk will buy back, jump in, and immediately pick up some kills. So Dust, a good defense, but they need more. And I don't know the shape of what that it'll take for them to get more, but they need it.
Smash is almost... He's actually very, very close to a Scythe, which is dangerous.
Does he have
We're
any
talking...
pieces other than the Mystic Staff? So he's still
yeah, he's looking at about 1,200 gold away,
1,200,
which is still pretty close.
Yeah.
Which is still pretty close.
Right.
Assuming he buys out. He might not buy out for it.
Ghost Scepter up for Darkseer. So yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, the Ghost Scepters, they're so useful. If they could just get one on Rubik as well, because he is the lowest level person on their team. He's actually now the lowest level on the map. Even Masoku is ahead of where Rubik is at right now. Sna, unfortunately, level 9 as this Rubik. And it's not so much that Rubik has such amazing abilities at later levels. It's that he needs stats. He needs to survive.
Yeah, he really needs he needs stats, and sadly, Artyk don't really have anything good that he could reasonably steal.
For
Besides
survival? Rage, yeah. Is the
Besides
main thing.
Purge, really.
Purge, Rage, Wrath of Nature, Shackle Shot.
Wrath of Nature has damage issues. The damage, honestly, isn't that great in team fights unless you have huge vision like Artyk.
That's true. That's a good point. And they don't have
Artyk have lots of vision.
Right.
Whereas Dust do not.
Dust have no vision.
So it really gives a huge edge to Artyk over Dust in these fights.
You're totally
using
right.
Wrath of Nature.
They have a gem.
All...
This is a big deal, actually. Chim, if he can hang on to this gem, it's so important for them to de-ward Artyk. You just mentioned how much vision Artyk has. That's something that Dust Gaming could work on. With this gem, hunt some of these wards down, clear them out, give yourself a later opportunity for smoke ganks. Of course, Mystico has a ward of his own, and we're both teams just settling down to purely hunting wards. Now, Artyk, keep in mind, they still have the Aegis for another 3 full minutes, so we could see something come out for them soon.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. And one of the big things that we're starting to see is that Dust getting very concerned whenever they leave their base. They are staying very grouped up. Like, even for that de-warding, all 5 moved into this area to de-ward, just to make sure no one would die.
I mean, you're talking about a team, they essentially can be victimized by the pseudo CKIO combo of Nature's Prophet with a Lifestealer inside. Any 3 heroes of Dust will just instantly die to that. They really need all 5 to deal with it.
They do have Ghost Scepters, but sadly Ghost Scepters do not let you TP out, so it frankly doesn't make that much of a difference in this particular matchup. Except for it gives you 5 seconds of extra survivability, but that's about it. If your team can't react in those 5 seconds, you're dead. Anyways, 4 seconds. 4 seconds.
Sure. Oh, we might see it again. Here comes Mihawk. He's Shadow Bladed in the back. The Iowa is just waiting for the moment to pop out. Oh my god, he doesn't even need to. Maybe he should have stayed. Meanwhile, Dust are trying to find a favorable engagement. The Global Silence comes through, actually, and the BKBs were activated before. Ush is on the ground. Nice call down. Both hits will hit Mystico. Meanwhile, Classic, he's locked down by the Shackle Shot. He won't live through that duration. 3 down for Dust. Jan escapes, but that's about it. Jan and Chim, they survive. The gem gets out, but Smash with the DD, combined with the fact that Mihawk is actually on the cusp of being able to one-shot Sna's Rubik. When you're getting one-shot, having Mechanism doesn't matter if your heroes die before Mechanism even affects them.
Tower is under attack.
Yeah, this is going to be easy racks, probably 2, to be honest.
There's the fortification. I mean, they have to make their last stand here, in my opinion. I don't know that Dust have much of a chance.
Radiant's
see
bottom
2
tower
sets of
has
barracks this
fallen.
year. Possibly even 3. I don't see what's stopping Artyk. They've still got this Aegis on Iwo. They can play very confidently. Iwo, actually, the open one's on Jan. He doesn't have the BKB. I think he's going to go down one more hit. Yes! Silencer actually hit the last hit. Meanwhile, Sna, oh, poor unfortunate Sna. There is just way too much damage from this Artyk team. Every single one of their heroes auto attacks were so freaking much. There's the Abyssal Blade to kill Chim and Jan. He's right back in. He's sheeped down. Smash finished that side device. Nice illusionary wall, actually. They finally find a kill. Maybe 2. There's the Aegis down for Iwo, but they're in their fountain. You can get kills in your fountain all the live long day, and Iwo actually, he will be slowed. Here comes the second hit of the call down. Classic actually trapped in some trees, but Jan, he just can't live. He can't survive against this Lifestealer. He's close to just getting permabashed. There's the GG. Game 1 goes to Artyk. They will tie it up 1-1. And Artyk looking extremely strong in this game 1L press. What did Dust need to change up?
Really what it came down to, I feel, was an execution flaw. Like, early on we saw that Dust were able to turn around a 4-8 into a 9-8. And then Mihawk started showing up to fights more often, and it just started to go down the hill from there. So honestly, I feel like after this game, they're going to be looking to ban out the Nature's Prophet in particular, and possibly the Lifestealer as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see those bans, because
PL, Keeper of the Light.
It leaves PL. and Keeper Light, but they, of course, they can pick up Keeper Light. Dust have played Keeper Light in the past, so that's always an option for them, right?
Yes.
And Keeper Light's phenomenally strong against Phantom Lancer.
Sure.
So
Phenomenally, but pretty strong.
I don't know.
Strong against Phantom Lancer, honestly.
Until you get a heart on Phantom Lancer, you're looking at her illusions getting completely wiped by a full charge Illuminate. So
do they actually get wiped? Because they have the spirit.
Depends on the level.
Whatever it's called. Ultimate.
Phantom Edge gives your magic resist up to 40%.
Uh-huh.
So that's 500 damage times 0.6. You're doing 300 damage times 300, so it's 900 damage. Phantom Lancer doesn't get that much strength.
Right, right. That's a good point.
So at most points, you're looking at them getting completely blown to bits.
Sure, sure. All right. So that's game one. Artyk, they do take it out. They tie it up. It's 1-1 now. We will move into the next game of this North America versus South America series in just a moment. I will have to restart my Dota because this game was much laggier than I typically like to have on the stream. Just a little bit of chop, unfortunately. Sorry if you had to experience that. Just know that I am addressing it for the next game. Thanks so much for watching, folks. We'll move on into Dust versus Artyk, the next game, in just a few minutes.